It's going to be handheld. I don't have a mic stand here.
Got it. All right, you got yours?
Yeah.
All right. Hello, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. So, welcome to the 2022 Student Government Inauguration. Congratulations in advance to all the people who will be inaugurating tonight, all of us who will be speaking, and all the people that will be thanking along the way for the support you've given student government thus far. Kara?
Yeah, so we just wanted to introduce ourselves real quick. So, Rihanna, do you want to start?
My name is Rihanna Stiff, and I am the outgoing student body president of the 89th Student Government.
Woohoo! There you go. Yeah. My name is Kara Seversal, and I am the outgoing vice president.
Hello, everybody. My name is Manahil Khan, and I am the outgoing speaker of student government.
So today we are going to go ahead and award some awards to some special people on campus that we want to recognize that students have taken the time to nominate, and then we are going to have our winners of the Student Barnes & Noble Scholarships come on up, and then we're going to get started with more of the inauguration part of it. So outgoing speeches, incoming speeches, and then finally swearing everybody in. So stick with us. We'll try and keep things moving. And yeah, without further ado, I think we're going to move on to our first award.
Yeah, so our first award tonight is the Dr. Duane Orr Teacher of the Year Award. The Dr. Duane Orr Teacher of the Year Award was established in 1995 to recognize MNSU instructors that excel in helping students learn through their exceptional teaching ability and outstanding service to Minnesota State University. Students nominate an instructor by sending a letter of support to the student government. Past award recipients include Kyle Ward, David Beamers, John Estall, Norma Krumwide, Tom Inglot, and Jonathan Hicks. Students who nominated this person for their award will now introduce our 2022 Dr. Duane Orr Teacher of the Year. Can those students please come up?
Alrighty. Hi, my name is Kaylee Gossett. I'm a senior student at the MSU Dental Hygiene Program, and I have the pleasure of giving this award out to one of our faculty, Mrs. Sonika Masi. A little bit about her and why we nominated her for this award. So our senior class of the dental hygiene program has been fortunate enough to know Sonika since she first joined the dental hygiene faculty in 2020. Being new to MSU, she jumped right in to help us learn the skills needed to become the hygienist we are today, all while getting to know us as more than just her students. The past 2 years, she has been a guiding force in our success as future dental hygienists. Her calmness is something that we don't usually find, as us students tend to make clinicals very chaotic. No matter the situation or the problem we present to Sonika, her reassuring and calming words bring us back to reality. Sonika not only helps us be better hygienists, but she also helps us be better people. She not only challenges us, but pushes us during uncomfortable situations. It's hard to find someone who is not only an outstanding teacher, but also a great mentor and friend. Based on these personality traits and skills, we couldn't find anyone more deserving to receive this award. We want to thank you, Sonica, for all your support. We wouldn't be where we are today without you. There's a reason why we call you Sonic Hair. You're just so caring. Congrats. Come on up, Sonica. She asked me today, she said, do I just get to sit there, right, and do nothing? And I said, yeah. Yep, you just get to sit there. And then, Sonica, feel free to say a few words.
I know. I
Sorry, you don't have to.
No, I'll just say I'm loud enough so I don't need a mic. But thank you guys. You know, this award goes to you all. You all have been so great, and I'll miss you all. It's you guys. It's not me. So thank you. I'm shaking right now.
And I'll be
The stage is kind of crowded, and we're kind of tall up here, so we're going to move, and I'll let you introduce the next.
Yeah, it's the first time I've ever been called tall, so let's rock with it. Okay, so next up we have the Vick Swenson Student Friendly Award. This award is another very important one that the students recognize for the Vick Swenson Student Friendly Award. The Vick Swenson Student Friendly Award recognizes the faculty, staff, and administrators that have demonstrated outstanding friendliness in assisting students and creating a community atmosphere. Some past recipients include Paku Lee, Kellyanne Klink, Becky Goller, Rhonda Dass, Kent Paulson, Gary Plim, and Robert Peterson. Will the students who have been informed about the award winner please come up at this time?
Hello, my name is Jane Sackwitz. I'm a senior biomedical sciences student. This nominee, his friendliness and charisma is just salient, and his energy is radiant, and every time he walks into the room, it's just so apparent. He began his career at MSU in 2020, kind of in the middle of the pandemic, which is obviously hard for any faculty member to kind of dive into, but he took that challenge and was able to put more time than I've ever seen a professor put into the students and their success. And that was just really important. And he also focuses on the mental health aspect, which I think not a lot of professors do. And that was important for all of us, I think, especially during that time. He creates an inclusive environment in his office. You know, even going forward, I don't have him as a professor anymore, but I hear that his office is the really fun hangout place. You can get coffee and snacks and all that kind of good stuff. So just letting everybody feel welcomed into that environment, because obviously school can be kind of scary sometimes. He's just a wonderful human being, and it is a privilege to announce that this year's Vick Swenson Award goes to Dr. Travis Bethel. Do you want to say anything?
Thanks. I just do what I love, which is teach organic chemistry. And I know that sounds scary at first. Can you hear me now? Good. Okay, yeah, I just teach orgo, and you guys have amazing students that are incredibly passionate, and so it's just really great for me to encourage them to keep growing. And it doesn't hurt that we can drink coffee and learn at the same time. So if anyone wants to stop by, there's a coffee bar in my office. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Senior Con is going to do our last award of the night. The last faculty award of the night.
All right, so now we're going to move on to our last faculty award, which is Administration of the Year Award. Lastly, a very important award to student government Student Government Students is the Administration of the Year Award. This award recognizes administrators who have demonstrated outstanding support, guidance, friendliness, and assisting student leadership while fostering a community atmosphere. This award goes to Kelly Meyer, who is the Assistant Vice President of Diversity, Equality, and Inclusion. And the students who nominated this faculty is Kara and Rihanna, so I'm going to invite them to say a few words about Kelly.
All right, so I'll just get started. I'll talk about her later in my speech, but Kelly is someone that I met halfway through the year, and I walked into her office because she had lots of candy and I was hungry that day. I was looking for Dr. Morris, but in between getting to meet her, we found out that she is so student-centered, and she really helped us make us feel like our idea of holistic student support and basic needs wasn't wild or crazy. She helped us feel like it was realistic and something that students really needed. I don't know if Kelly's in the audience today or if she'll be here to accept this award. She's at the dentist. But still, we wanted to highlight Kelly for all her work this year.
Yeah. Kelly came to us at a time when we needed her the most, and a lot of people talk about being student-centered and student-focused, but Kelly not only talks the talk, she really walks the walk, and she shows us every day. Not only will she vocally support us, but she'll put in the work. Whether or not it's asked of her, she's willing to go above and beyond for her students every single day, and so she's not here, but Dr. Morris, we can give it to you in the meantime, but thank you, Kelly.
Thank you. I'm a little better looking.
All right. Moving right along, we are now going to go ahead and do the introduction of the Student Government Barnes & Noble's Leadership Scholarship. So, with this, 12 $500 scholarships will be awarded to students who have demonstrated profound leadership on campus and in the community. The scholarship will provide funds for students to purchase class materials at the on-campus Barnes & Noble bookstore. This scholarship is specific to students who hold membership in the Residence Hall Association, Student Events Team, any officially recognized student organization or RSOs, student government, or intercollegiate college athletics team. The 2022/2023 Barnes & Noble Leadership Scholarship winners are Jacob Price, Ayush Sharma, Dominic Drabant, James Ziegwald, Jared Anderson. And then Kara will introduce the others.
And are they coming up?
Yes, after we're done.
Okay, feel free to come up as we call your name. Kaylee Meyer, Mariana Durmg, Namita Basnet, Nick Hun, Noah Collar, Raya Aurora, and Robert Blanchard.
Please come to the stage. So you guys can file along the stage.
We'll get a picture.
We'll get a picture of you, and then we'll get you your awards shortly. Okay, let's move.
Thank you, students, for your exceptional leadership this past year and your willingness to go above and beyond. These scholarships are limited to, like Rihanna said, only certain groups of students, and so you guys are evidence of all the amazing assets that students bring. So congratulations, scholars. Either way.
I don't think there's there, right?
No, there's no sticks.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Congratulations, guys.
All right. Moving right along, the next thing on our agenda for today, I sound like I'm in a student government meeting. The next thing we're going to do is my outgoing speech as the 89th student body president. So, hello everyone again. My name is Rihanna Stiff, and by now I hope that some of you have come to know me in some capacity. I again am the outgoing student body president. Almost exactly 1 year ago in my inauguration speech, I stated that leadership is synonymous with service. Now I have learned that service means humbling yourself. Now, I have been humbled in many ways this year, sometimes through embarrassment, but most of the times through experiencing the sheer passion and courage of students who aren't afraid to demand more and receive more. With my time tonight, I want to highlight the impact of the 89th student government. This impact sheds light on the importance of student advocacy. This year, we set out with 3 big goals that ended up achieving 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and so on. First, we wanted to establish a room and board scholarship fund for students. I'm happy to say that next year, to my knowledge, at least 2 students will be receiving the first to be created room and board scholarship funds for low-income students on campus. Next, we wanted to establish an overdue housing website that increases transparency between student tenants and landlords. A couple weeks ago, we finalized our recommendation to work with off-campus housing partners that will launch said website next fall. And finally, our biggest goal was to establish a basic needs wellness center that would encompass existing resources on campus in addition to community resources around the greater Mankato area. Next year, the university will welcome a case navigator to help vulnerable students through crises with the expectation that a wellness center may be to come in the upcoming years. I'm happy to see that we accomplish all the goals that we set out to do. Now, thank you. Now, that's a lot to achieve in 9 months, right? But less than 9 months if we're counting the time it took to host a special election in which we welcomed the majority of our Senate this year. Let's also account for the fact that our advocacy led to a campus-wide minimum wage shift, and also succeeded in passing 2 referendums with almost 60% support. And I say we as not in just myself, Kara, and Manahil, but we as in the entire student government that backed this campaign this year. We quite literally put our money where our mouths were and got students paid. Senate this year might have been a bit, maybe a little bit more than a bit controversial, but I think the controversial Senate is one that got students paid in the end and got done what we said we would do. For that, I'm proud. I think there's also to be something said about being the first. Now, this year I have mentioned that we are the first all-female exec team. I've stated that a lot because it's something that I'm proud of. Along with this, we have not shied away from acknowledging some of the joys and difficulties that come along with that. This isn't the only first that we've experienced this year, though. We're the first Senate that has navigated returning from a pandemic, the first that has had to deal with such a complicated budget year, and of course, we're the first that has embraced a basic needs, holistic student support campaign in the way we did. Somebody I talked to recently told me that being the first isn't always easy, and it always doesn't feel good. But you might question yourself at times, and being the first means you're breaking down barriers for others. Being the first also means that you have to be cognizant about not pulling the ladder up behind you, but instead extending the ladder further to someone else who can come up behind you. I hope that under my leadership, and in fact, I actually truly believe that the 89th student government has laid the groundwork and extended that ladder for further future advocates to continue to do good work on this campus. Some will say that this year was unconventional, and that's true. Some will say we did things wildly different, and that I can also agree with. And some might even think that university support does not involve supporting students at their most basic levels, aka housing, food, and fair compensation. Now that I can't agree with. We're all here because of students, and I will argue that even with all the PhDs and various other degrees on this campus, students still hold paramount knowledge. Why? And that is because that we are the authors and the experts of our own stories and our own experiences. Now, this is the part of the speech where I say thank you to all those people who made this year special. First, to my Vice President, Kara, you've taught me so much about vulnerability this year. Aside from working together, you've also become my friend, and you've taught me how to romanticize and prioritize my friendships in a way that I didn't quite understand before. You've made me laugh, encouraged me to think outside the box, and challenged me to live up to the highest standards of friendship. This university needs more people like you on this campus. Besides that, and maybe most importantly, I want to thank you for introducing me to charcuterie boards and the Bachelorette seasons. Thank you for taking this journey on with me and sticking it out to the end. Manahil, you joined this team while still being in Pakistan. You did us a huge favor, and you brought an energy and excitement to the speaker role that I haven't seen. You have repeatedly asked for more responsibility and more time to highlight the accomplishments of the entire Senate. Over the course of this year, I have seen you grow more and more into this role. You are a bold, bright, and passionate person, and I'm glad this year brought us closer. Thank you for being my speaker. Now, Emmy Mink, you know you're my girl, Emmy. You jumped into this role asking how you can support us. You took initiative in times when we were drowning in work. You showed up early and stayed extremely late, and you never complained. You were a hands-on advisor who went above and beyond, not because you had to, but just because. You were a sage to Senate this year, and you brought in fresh and positive energy and wisdom that we constantly tap you for. I can't express what you've done for us this year, and I look forward to seeing where your vibrancy takes you. Thank you. Now, where's Dr. Morris at? Raise your hand, Dr. Morris. Oh, there you are. Okay. So, Dr. Morris, a.k.a. my grandpa, in the middle of the year, Kara reminded me that we desperately needed mentorship. There was a gentle yet genuine aura about you that made me immediately think of you. In my head, you were already designated as both my grandpa and mentor before you had a choice, unfortunately, so I thank you for accepting those roles. Many times this year, you listened to me vent, you gave me perspective, and you showed me the power of mentorship. Though we might have not always agreed, I always felt heard by you, and I felt refreshed leaving every meeting we had. You walk the walk when it comes to being student-centered at this university, and this university has something special because it has you. So thank you. Kelly Meyer is also an unsuspected designated family member for Kara and I this year. But I walked into her office, again, looking for Dr. Morris, and because she had a mountain of candy waiting for my growling stomach, and I was hoping that she would offer me some, quite honestly. During the first time we met, though, she constantly talked about student wellness. Over the past year, Kelly has guided us, validated our emotions, and been a source of trust for Kara and I. So I want to thank Kelly for being authentic and being real with us this year, and I look forward to coming back and visiting her and Grandpa Morris after I graduate. Finally, I don't know if Dr. Jones is here, but now as our liaison, Dr. Jones, no, we didn't agree all the time. But from this, I do think we learned a lot from each other. I appreciate him constantly finding and making time for Kara and I this year. So, in my final remarks in this speech, which feels bittersweet, I want to say that a year ago I stood in this spot and I made promises. I made promises to learn and to advocate and to show myself and others grace. I also said that being a leader is less about being in charge and more about how you charge forward. I hope and believe that my promises and those words have remained true during my year in office. So thank you, Minnesota State University Mankato. Thank you, student government. And I will sign off as the last time as President Stiff. Thank you. All right. Moving on to our next outgoing speech, which will come from Vice President Seversal.
That's a tough act to follow. But being the former debate kid and college student that I am, we're going to go ahead and wing this and see if we can try and get everything included. So I first want to start by introducing myself. My name is Kara. I'm a social work and child development major here at MNSU. I came to this school because I was really inspired while walking around the campus. I was inspired by the price, and I was inspired by the opportunities that I knew were available to me here. Since coming here, I was quickly ushered into a series of positions that I didn't feel qualified for and didn't really know what I was doing. But by showing up and by putting in the work and by learning from others, I quickly found myself in these roles and figured out how not only to survive these positions, but to thrive in them. As I think back on this year, I reflect back on what me and Rihanna often said was, we're going to do things different this year. And that sounded really good at the time, and we'd quickly figured out why it's challenging to do things differently, but why it's worth it anyways. So, I wanted to go over a few of the things that we have done differently and where we put our money where our mouth is. Like Ree mentioned, we're the first all-female exec team, which is awesome. That sounds like a very clappable thing, like woohoo, girl power. But when you're in the positions, you really learn what that means and the weight that carries with that. And the fact that you're going to have to repeat yourself more. And you're going to have to remind people that you're still speaking. And you're going to have to continue to advocate for your voice and to teach people to look past emotion when you're speaking and to continue to listen to your words. And that's something we've done. And we've helped teach others that as long as build up that skill within ourselves. So that's one thing that we did different. The next thing was we were the first exec team to openly acknowledge and advocate not only for other students' mental health, but to model that in ourselves by taking a sabbatical when we needed to step back from these positions. By showing that leadership, we proved to students that it's not just okay to say mental health is normal, but to actually live out those values. The next thing that we did was everyone told us that wages are untouchable. You do not mess with the university's money. And while we found that it is definitely difficult, it's not untouchable. We pushed to get wages increased. They're increased $2 an hour this year, and I think we can keep moving that number up to stay competitive with the community. Sure, we can clap, yeah. We also pushed to get our own stipends up so that students were no longer asked just to work for the value of passion, but students were compensated for the work that they were doing. This ensures that not just the students who can afford leadership opportunities have the opportunity to participate in them, but all students have that option. The next things that we did differently, we were not afraid to speak our mind, and we were not above a publicity stunt. And so sometimes when you have big, important agendas, you gotta be a little creative with how you get those done. So we've definitely hung a few signs up in Senate. We've definitely walked through and been not afraid to walk out. And sometimes that's what you need to get people's attention. And so I would advise the next student government leadership to not be conformed by just fears of how people will perceive you, but be driven by the work that you're doing. And sometimes that means putting your own ego aside, putting your own values aside, and as me and Rihanna learned, putting our need to be liked aside in order to stand for the work that you're doing. So I wish that for you all. And, but doing that, we accomplished all of our major platforms. We expanded the free lot by 300 spots during the most packed parts of students on campus, which is huge, decreasing waits for students by 40 minutes just trying to get to class. We challenged off-campus housing practices and told landowners and rental property managers that they're no longer able to manipulate students by ushering in a new student every time a student complains and leaves. We got support for student basic needs, not only by getting a social worker on campus, but by pushing the conversation and by putting it into the facility plan so that this isn't just a conversation that dies with us, but continues to be had. We pushed for max vaccination clinics on campus, and we pushed for emergency grants for not just domestic students, but for international students as well. All of these things will long outlive our time here, but I'm grateful that we had the opportunity to start these conversations. So now I wanted to go ahead and thank a few people. The first person I wanted to thank is Liz. Liz is the director of the Women's Center and has been a saving grace this entire year. I went to Liz right before school even started. I showed up in her office and just kind of bombarded all of my feelings. And rather than be overwhelmed or ask me to reschedule an appointment, she sat down the time to talk with me throughout then. And not only that, but say, how can I support you moving forward? Liz has really been consistent, she's been honest, she's kept me accountable, and she's pushed me to grow, and I really appreciate her. Next, Kelly, we lovingly refer to her as our Mankato mom. She has made sure we always had snacks and dinner. She makes an amazing banana dessert that we're really proud of. Come to Rihanna's grad party for that one. And she's helped us beyond the call of duty. Next, I wanted to thank Rosalind. Rosalind from Oasis has been incredible in supporting us. Rosalind is another person that we would just show up in her office and vent all of our feelings, and she'd help us sort them through. And finally, Emmy. We wanted to thank you, Emmy, for you showing up and you doing the work and you continuing to understand our perspectives and to help us advocate not just on the student level, but how can we change things on the staff and faculty level too. That takes true bravery, it takes true transformational leadership, and you are the epitome of that. So all of these women that have been here today have looked at us not just as students, not just as student leaders, not just as tokens, but as people first. And that's made the difference between our success and our failure in these positions. So thank you to all of you and for what you've done for us. Finally, I want to end my speech by talking about some of the things that we learned this year. We learned a lot about policy, about politics, about strategics, about messaging, about how to get your message out. But the biggest things that we really learned were about grit, resilience, accountability, and growth. These aren't the things that I expected to learn this year, but it's the lessons that we learned and that I'll take with me that matter the most. We learned how to dig deep with grit. We learned how to stay in the issue, even when we felt frustrated, even when we felt unheard. We learned resilience. When hits kept coming, we learned how to stand back up and brush ourselves off and keep talking through it. We learned accountability. We learned how to encourage accountability for others and to also take hard feedback and criticism ourselves and implement it into our growth. And we learned how to expand ourselves, how to go beyond what we originally imagined and into what we knew we were capable of becoming. And so because of that, thank you, Rihanna. Thank you, Menahil. Thank you, Emmy. And thank you, students, for this opportunity to serve one last time as your student body vice president. Thank you. And now coming up is Menahil Khan, our speaker for this year.
Oh wow, those were some amazing speeches, and I'm gonna try to keep it. I was thinking about last night. We had our last meeting yesterday, and it was a long and intense and emotional meeting since it was the last meeting, and I had a lot of feelings after that. And last night I was just going through this whole year and thinking, what are the things that I want to take from this year? While I also called one of my friends who I have been very close to and have been like talking about student government, who is not anywhere related to student government, just to tell my feelings, my experiences, and just to rant. And she asked me a question. She has been through all these conversations I've had about student government with me this whole year, and she asked me, Menahil, if you knew this is how the experience was going to be and these are all the challenges you were going to face, would you do it again? And that just really took me back to, yes, it was difficult, yes, it was challenging, but I would 100% do it again because I've had an amazing team. I had an amazing student government, and we achieved things. We didn't just talk about achieving things, we actually achieved them. We had challenges, we passed through them, we stuck through, we made the change, and we were not afraid to stand up for ourselves and the students we were presenting. Coming into the speaker role, my role was very complicated as to the person I am. A speaker is someone who is fair, who always follow the rules, who makes sure that 30 senators in student government are following the rules, everyone's voices are being heard, but stays quiet themselves. I am a very opinionated person. I was a senator last year. So when student government reached out to me and encouraged me to apply for this role, it's like, this is going to be challenging. Like, keeping my mouth shut while I'm trying to make sure everyone else's voices is heard, I'm going to jump right in and start the debate. But this year really, really taught me how to be different, how to learn from every experience, and how to grow in every aspect. If you're an opinionated person, if you have been always speaking your mind and you have had opinions, you can still take a role that is totally different than that. So now that we are after this whole year of experiences, now we're at the end of it, we're signing off. I want to say that this year has been a roller coaster. Some of the things I was prepared for, some of the things I did not see coming. But that's life, isn't it? You jump right in, you take the responsibility, you make things happen. I wanted to take the opportunity because my lovely president and vice president have talked about all the amazing things student government has achieved this year. And all the goals we had, all the achievements. I wanted to take the opportunity to talk about how we got here and how like I as a student got here. Some of you all are very close friends of mine, and then some of you all know me professionally. But I am not a student who comes from U.S. I'm a student who represents international students. I'm a student who came from another country who did not know anyone here. So I just wanna take the opportunity to talk about the experience I had as an international student in this school. Growing up, I grew up in a male-dominant country. My mom is someone I always looked up to. She was a hardworking woman, but I grew up in an environment where I saw her struggling to make into the society, which is where I always wanted to be different. I wanted to go achieve things. I had dreams, but growing up in a male-dominant country, you see how that is always not the case. So I just want to take this opportunity to thank my mom because she pushed through. In 3rd grade, she told me that I should go into speeches. Why? Because I was a very shy student. People here are going to think, no, Manahil, you were never shy, but I was. The 3rd grade, Manahil was super shy. I had difficulties making friends. But she told me that I should be a speech person, I should go do speeches, and that was impossible for me. In 6th grade, she told me that, Manahil, you should go be a debater. That was impossible. I'm like, speeches? Okay, I can like go read a paper, I can share my opinions, but go fight with people? No, that's not possible. But by the time I got to 12th grade, I had represented my school at state level, interstate level, and national level, and represented my school. And that wasn't just for me. It was because I come from an Asian country. If you know anything about Asia, an elder sister is the one who is the role model for the other siblings. So everything I did, my mom was like, you're being a role model for your sister and your brothers. So you have to go do these things so that they can be confident to do that. By the time I got to 12th grade, was the time when I was going to go choose a career, and I was going to go decide what I'm going to do in life. That 12th grade old me thought I wasn't going to be able to do that in Pakistan. I love Pakistan, but I wasn't going to be able to survive with all the goals that I had in my mind in Pakistan. So I decided that I'm going to apply for scholarships in America. I didn't tell anyone in my family about it. I applied for those scholarships, waited to receive my desired scholarships, and then since I was the debater, I came with all the pros and cons and went to my family with a whole speech as to why they should let me go to America. And then I made it here after a 35 hours flight, no phone connection because my Pakistani phone had lost all the connections. And when I was 17 years old, after coming here, I found out that you cannot sign a lease, so I was homeless. But that's the story of 90% of international students who get here. It was a complete cultural shock, but I had to tell myself, you made it here, you fought to be here, now you have to pick it up and make it. This school gave me so much opportunities that I did not see coming. I was overwhelmed. I was trying to fit into the culture. I thought I wasn't confident enough to make it here with all these students who were so much more confident than me, who this place was their home. And for me to come in here and try to achieve all the things that I had in my mind and all the dreams that I came with, just looked very impossible. But I just want to say how Minnesota Sweet is actually a thing. People in Minnesota are very nice to new international students, and I just want to appreciate and thank each and every person who was this person for me. I made friends, I got connected to American families, where I learned American culture. I became the president of Pakistan Student Association for 2 years in a row. I became a coordinator of Leadership U, Maverick Involvement Team. Started working with Emmy since my freshman year. Joined student government. When I first joined student government, I thought I wasn't a person who knows anything about politics, but I knew I wanted to advocate for students. I knew I wanted to speak for my students. I wanted to make the change, and I wanted to stand up for them. Became the senator for my college, received Senator of the Year award, got recruited for applying to speaker, and made it through this year. And it's been a lot of changes. It's been a lot of things, but this has been the highlight of my college life. Looking back into that 17-year-old girl who came into America and was surprised and was overwhelmed and didn't know what to do, to where I am today. It's been all the experiences that I have had in this school, and it's been all the experiences that everybody in this school has given me. So I want to thank, first of all, my mom, to give me the confidence to get here, and then I have a list of people I want to thank here. First of all, Kara and Rihanna. The speaker is always non-opinionative, very much in the background, but Kara and Rihanna and I decided in the start of the year that I wanted to be involved. I wanted to be very with them up front, out there. I still didn't have opinions, but I wanted to be there when we make all these changes. And because we were all women leadership team, they proudly gave me an opportunity to be there and make those changes and work on the things I was passionate about. So thank you, Rihanna, for being open-minded, for listening to my opinions. Thank you, Kara, for always being a support for me. Kara was the speaker last year, and she was a constant support and advisor for me in the start of the year. Thank you to Emmy. Emmy has been with me since my freshman year, has been my advisor when I was in Leadership U, and then became our advisor this year. And she was the girl who always told us, "You got this. I know you want to do these things, and here's how you do it." So she was never the person who said, "No, Menahil, this can't happen." She told me, "Menahil, these are the options. You choose which option you want to go for." So thank you, Emmy, for being you. You're amazing. I want to thank Liz. Kara introduced me to Liz because being in a leadership position of this level, you need an advisor, you need a counselor, and I have not gone to counseling center, which is on my end, but Liz was that one person who became my counselor. She constantly gave me advices, hear me out, give me options, and advised me, and basically just was there for me. She understood women empowerment. She understood women trying to achieve things, and she was there to help and support. So thank you, Liz, for just being you. I want to thank all the other people who, every time was a difficult situation in student government, and every time we did something that was different and wasn't done in the past, was not just there to support, but also appreciate that. So first of all, Dr. Jones, I came with a lot of weird changes that I wanted to make, and Dr. Jones was first surprised, but then accepting to all those changes, and very happily worked with me on those. I want to thank Dean Veltsauce, Brian Johnson, Mark Constantine for constantly emailing me after every difficult meeting and telling me that I got this and I'm going to make it through. And just thank you for being amazing supporters. It was very appreciated and very needed. Yeah, I think that's all I'm going to say. I'm very proud of everything student government has achieved this year. I'm very proud of all the senators. All the senators felt like, I don't know, kids to me. at any cost, I felt like I needed to protect them. I needed to brag about all the achievements they're making. I wanted to appreciate them. I wanted to be their mom, not literally, but thank you, because I learned from all the passionate senators we had this year. I learned so much from you, and I so much appreciate you for being there with me and being there for the journey. So thank you. All right, our next speech, hold on, let me check the schedule. I forgot. All right, so our next speech is we're gonna be inaugurating our newly elected president and vice president, and our first speech is gonna be from the newly elected president, Emma Zellmer.
All right. Should I take this? Yes, you can take the mic. Let me find the words. Hold on. It's a lot of words. Okay. So I need you to raise your right hand. All right. So I state your name.
I, Emma Zellmer,
Will represent and serve
will represent and serve
the students of Minnesota State University Mankato
the students of Minnesota State University Mankato
in student life
in student life
and academic needs,
and academic needs,
and will uphold the mission,
and will uphold the mission,
Constitution, and bylaws
Constitution, and bylaws
of the student government.
of the student government.
I do so affirm.
I do so affirm.
Congratulations, Emma.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. My name is Emma Zellmer. I use she, her pronouns in all spaces, and I am so grateful to be able to represent you all as the student body president this upcoming year. I would like to congratulate the award recipients of the Dr. Orr Turner Teacher of the Year Award, the Vick Swenson Student Friendly Award, the Administrator of the Year Award, and the Barnes & Noble Leadership Scholarship awardees. You all are great leaders on our campus, and I am excited to see all the successes you continue to make. 90 years ago, my great-grandmother walked onto the campus of the Mankato Teachers College with the same sentiment that many students walk onto our campus today, with the idea of creating a better life for not only herself, but also my family. She was able to do that with my grandfather walking onto this campus, which was Mankato State University, a few decades later, and my parents following suit after that. I was lucky to be the fourth generation student to walk onto Minnesota State University, Mankato's campus in 2018, coming in with the big ideas that our university always talks about. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I changed my major, called my dad after the first night and said, I am not going to be taking over the family business. I apologize. He said, you made it longer than I thought. But luckily, my community advisor, Liz, reached out to me and said, I think you should I think you should be a part of the Resident Hall Association. I said, wow, as a debate student, I was ready to get involved in that. At the first meeting, student government came in and said, there's a Resident Hall senator position open. I called my dad, I go, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this. And luckily he said, just put your name in. The worst that could happen is you could lose. So luckily I put my name into student government and was happy to be able to serve students as the Resident Hall senator. When I walked into my one-on-one with the student body president, Mimi Cronin at the time, I sat down with bright eyes and ready to get involved in anything she'd offer. And she took advantage of that with all the committees I served on. But she looked at me and she said, you really want to get involved, don't you? And I said, in anything you'd like me to. She said, well, here's the 4-year plan to become student body president. And at the time, I didn't know what exactly I wanted to do, but I knew that student government was it. Although I didn't take that path, I ran for the speaker as a freshman with a few weeks left in my term and was lucky to serve alongside President Mimi Cronin and Vice President Anissa Omar as the speaker to finish out that term. I was able to be the speaker that following year while I was a community advisor meeting with students. And then I decided that I wanted to move on to Students United for a bit. I thought that I'd be in student government for a long time, but the former student body president, Abdul, so thank you to him as well, looked at me and said, "What else do you want to do?" And I leaned over during the state chair elections in my freshman year in 2019 and said, "Abdul, I'm going to run for state chair of Students United to represent all 7 of the Minnesota State University students." I've been lucky enough to have the support of the administration here, as well as the students here, as I've served as the vice chair and now the state chair of Students United. I would like to thank the students for electing myself and Edmund to serve you all in this upcoming year. We promise to ensure that every student voice is heard. If you disagree with something we're thinking about, make sure you come tell us. We also want to ensure that accessibility is top of mind as we continue to move back into a new normal after this pandemic. We want to make sure that equity is a top priority and continues to be a top priority so we are truly equitable, as said by Equity 2030, by the end of this decade. We want to make sure that affordability continues to be at top of mind. When students are giving their money to this university, it is expected that it will be used well. And I look forward to expanding and continuing the housing scholarship that this administration, that the 89th student government was able to successfully set up and produce this year. Yes, thank you all for the work you did on that, as well as continue the basic needs work that you all worked so hard for this year. Your voice has been at top of mind whenever I think about what we are going to do this year, and thank you for the groundwork and the ladder that you dropped down for us to climb. I would like to also thank a few other former presidents, President Anissa Omar, hi, President Andrew Trenny, and President Stiff, and all the leadership that you have given that I've been able to watch and grow and learn from in these past years. I consider you all to be good friends of mine, and I hope to continue the great work that you all worked on. I would also like to thank the administration at Minnesota State University Mankato as they supported me while I moved on to Students United. Even when I would come back with questions that did not at all pertain to Mankato, they were happy to give advice and ask me what they could do to help support our priorities on this campus as well. I would also like to thank my partner, Zach, for always supporting me in the last 3 years of my student leadership. I apologize for not telling you I was running for student body president until I was working on a poster. I would also like to thank my family, not only my great-grandmother, who walked on this campus first, who I was able to follow in the footsteps of, but also my parents for always supporting me and never doubting me as I continue to move on at Mankato. I would also like to thank my grandparents for always supporting. Thank you, Grandma Moo, for always giving me food to fill my freezer. I would like to congratulate the student senators who now get to serve as a part of the 90th student government. You all took on the role of running for a leadership position, and you all accepted the responsibility once you were elected. I'm excited to see how you all will continue to grow and how we can work together to ensure that every student's voice continues to be heard at all levels. Every decision that happens at a university is a decision that students must and should be included in, because this is our institution, and it is the institution of the future students. We would not be here without the students, and I am excited to work with you all on all of your priorities and also the priorities that we all ran as a part of. Our responsibility is to ensure that when the 100th student government is inaugurated, that they are able to work on the groundwork we laid, and that they won't have to make the hard decisions that we'll be making this year. It'll be a long year with lots of work ahead of us, but I know that as a team, we will be able to support students and ensure that every student's voice is heard and respected. It is our responsibility to make sure that every student has an equitable opportunity at Minnesota State University Mankato. We are also excited to work with all the administration, not only in this room, but others as well. We are all in this work to ensure that the Minnesota State University Mankato continues to be a leader nationally in all the work that we put forward, as well as I understand that you all are fully working with students and for students, because without students, you all would not be here as well. We are looking forward to assisting you all with the enrollment crisis that higher education is nationwide. By letting students lead this force, we can ensure that my cousin, who will be here in 8 years, will be able to walk in and make sure that they are not in the budget holes that we are in today, and that he will be able to succeed on our campus. Right now, we are in a very important time, not only for our campus, but also for the world as a whole. We are just now starting to come out, pending any other waves of the pandemic, to come into a new normal. But this normal isn't going to be like the normal it was before. And the 90th Student Government commits to making sure that this new normal includes all students and is a more equitable, more just, more inclusive, and more accessible opportunity for every student around. So when the 5th generation of my family is able to walk onto our campus, no matter what the name might be, that they are walking onto not just a Minnesota State University campus, but the Minnesota State University campus. Thank you.
Next, if we could have Edmund come up for your inauguration and then your speech. All right, I'll have you raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
My name is Edmund Ibrahim.
Will represent and serve
Will represent and serve
the students of Minnesota State University Mankato.
the students of
Minnesota State
Minnesota State
University Mankato,
University of Mankato,
and will uphold
and I will uphold
the mission,
the mission,
Constitution, and bylaws
Constitution, bylaw
of the student government.
of the student government.
I so affirm.
I so affirm.
Congratulations.
Hi everyone, my name is Edmund Ibrahim and I am double major in social work and gender and women's study. 4 years ago, I stepped into MNSU for the first time as a passionate high school student trying to decide where I wanted to pursue my college education. I didn't know what to expect when I chose to become here as a student. I was a first generation student, and as a college freshman, I felt like I didn't have adequate resources to make it through my undergrad years. I was unsure of who to reach out for advice, and to be honest, it was intimidating. I didn't know who I could talk to about getting tutoring session, financial aid, and ensuring that I put my mental health first before anything else. This is my story, but it's a one that many other first generation students share. My eagerness to be here was matched only my fear of failing. But even though I felt unsure about where I could find those support systems, I was able to do it when I reached out to the advisors at the university. All those experiences shaped me into the resourceful person I am today, who devoted her time to advocate for others because I learned to do it for myself first, which is the power of experiences. When you go through it, it's easy to spot on who also going through the same struggles. It allowed me to open my eyes to a particular issue that pertains to the needs for international students, first-generation students of color. It helped me to become a peer mentor to students who are still finding their places on these camps. So next year, I am looking forward to being here for students and listening to their individual unique stories, despite their color, race, nationality, and gender. The number one priority for me is to ensure that first-generation students have the resources they needed to thrive. By working to expand and promote Maverick First in diversity and inclusion, and to empower and motivate students to always advocate for themselves. As I work through this, I look to role models such as Ilhan Omar, who breaks down barriers for people like me. She says, I knew earlier on that if I wanted a different kind of neighborhood, a different kind of city, state, and country, I had to be proud of that. So I'm standing here as I did 4 years ago, equally excited and nervous to be proud of exactly that. Thank you so much.
right, now we're gonna move forward and inaugurate all the newly elected senators. I'm gonna divide them into first academic senators, then student life senators, and then the board senators. First of all, we have representing the College of Allied Health and Nursing, Namita Besnit, and then once I'm announcing my name, announcing your name, feel free to start to come up and make a line behind me. So Namita Basnett and Susanna Temishgan Galbraith Mariam. I'm really hoping I did not pronounce that really bad. Then we have representing the College of Humanities and Social Sciences, Eung Kung, Grace Larson, Danawit Waldick Dan. Then representing College of Business, we have Mariana Dermenji Victor Wing. Then representing College of Education, we have nobody. Then, yeah, there will be an election. Then representing Graduate Studies, we have Douglas Roberts. Then representing College of Science, Engineering, and Technology, we have Dagmavi Abera, Nick Hyun, Rohit Nirula. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and swear you in. So raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Oh, actually, I'm gonna move here so that you all can. Okay, we're just gonna go ahead. I state your name.
Douglas Roberts.
Will represent and serve. The students of Minnesota State. University Mankato. In student life. And academic needs. And will uphold the mission. Constitution. And bylaws. Of student government. I so affirm. Awesome! Congratulations!
Are we going to take a picture of them? Can we get some of you to sit in the
Oh,
front here?
some of you guys can sit in front for the picture?
Lenny, please send these to me for the Instagram.
One other person can sit on the chair.
There we go. Scoot over the back row just a little bit. Very good. Right here, right? 1, 2. One more. And one more. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Senators. Now we're going to move on to students who are representing student life. So for off-campus, we have Kevin Atmakur, Maria Del Cameron Mendes Martinez, Seen Hawk, Arnavi Multare, David Mesta, Ahmed Osman, Nitibin Prakash, Hussein Siki, and then senators who will be representing residential life. We have Bob Belcard, Bennett Henson, Koshangi Jha, Joey Nowak, and Ciara Rogers. And then we have student body at large, Mecht Albarbi, Darlington Segrin.
Are you doing the opposite hand motion of where we're going? I'm sorry.
All right. Raise your right hand. I
I,
state your name.
Joey Novak,
Will represent and serve
will represent and serve
the students
the students
of Minnesota State University,
of Minnesota State University,
Mankato,
Mankato,
in student life
in student life
and academic needs,
and academic needs,
and will uphold
and will uphold
the mission,
the mission,
Constitution,
Constitution,
and bylaws
and bylaws
of student government.
of student government.
I so affirm.
I so affirm.
Congratulations.
People who wear a short get on the shirt. Not me. I should be on the short.
Scoot up in the back row a little bit. There you go. Ready? Thank you.
Congratulations, senators. Now we're going to move on to Sentential Student Union Board. We have Tyler Pickle, Maria Ruiz. For Athletics Advisory Board, we do not have anybody. For Newspaper Board, we have Nitiban Prakash. And then for Student Health and Advisory Board, we have Jasmine Ortuno Jimenez. And Kat Spears. All right. Raise your right hand. I state your name.
Kat Spears.
Will represent and serve
Represent and serve
the students of Minnesota State
Minnesota State
University Mankato
University Mankato
in student life
in student life
and academic needs,
and academic needs,
and will uphold the mission,
and will uphold the mission,
Constitution,
Constitution,
and bylaws
and bylaws
of
of
student government.
student government.
I so affirm.
I so affirm.
Congratulations. All right.
All right, everyone. So I just want to thank all of you for coming to the 2022 inauguration ceremony. It means a lot that you're here, whether you're here for family, your friends, or even us. So feel free to stick around afterwards and take pictures. We have a photo set up at the back. But congratulations to all our new elected leaders, President Zellmer. Oh, yes, and extra food. Kara is motioning me to eat the extra food. So congratulations again to President Zellmer, Vice President Edmund Ibrahim, and congratulations to the Student Senate, and good luck next year. Thank you.